Eli Manning did not get in, unfortunately, which all three of us think was absolutely absurd. We do congratulate, of course, those that did. Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Sterling Sharpe, smallest Hall of Fame class since 2005. Also, awards were given out last night. Josh Allen wins the MVP. He edges out Lamar Jackson. Allen 1, Lamar 2, Saquon 3, Joe Burrow 4. And so on. Jared got 5, Patrick Mahomes 6, and so on and so forth there. Do we think they got it right?
No, they didn't get it right. Lamar Jackson won two. He won 2 MVPs, and you can make the argument that this was his best season. Like, I get it. They want to prop up Josh Allen. His team had a tremendous amount of success. Again, a top 2 seed in his respective conference. I think that actually matters when it comes to the MVP voting. You got to go back to 2012, the last time a player won MVP without being a top 2 seed in their conference going into the postseason. So I think that's heavily weighted. Also, Derrick Henry being in that backfield with Lamar Jackson works against him. But when you look at Josh Allen's body of work, tremendous, 40 total touchdowns to only 8 turnovers. Lamar Jackson, 45 total touchdowns to 9 turnovers. So, I mean, I get it. Josh hasn't gotten the hardware. Lamar has won 2 MVPs. Doesn't necessarily have the postseason success that you would assign to a guy that has won multiple MVPs. And so I think that's what edged him out. The better overall team record, and then, of course, being able to have more success in the postseason over the years. Of course, it's a regular season award, and so what happened this postseason shouldn't have any bearing on it. But I think the previous postseasons factor into the math when it comes to assigning a certain level of greatness, and they capped Lamar Jackson at 2 because we haven't seen more postseason success from him.
So you think this was okay, Lamar's numbers are better, he should probably get it, but we need something to actually a tangible thing to point to acknowledge how great Josh Allen has been?
Well, no, I think Derrick Henry being in the backfield works against Lamar.
Gotcha.
Lamar having earlier than expected exits in the postseasons in years prior matters in terms of framing it. When you start talking about MVPs, that is something that's at the top of the resume, as Evan always says, and we start being judicious about how we're doling those out, especially if a guy has won multiple regular season MVPs and hasn't had a lot of success in terms of being able to win the big one. It would be awkward if Lamar Jackson had as many regular season MVPs as he had playoff wins, and this is a guy that's been in the league since 2018.
Yeah.
So I thought this was the committee saying, you know what, we're going to give Lamar Jackson first team All-Pro, but we're going to give the MVP to Josh Allen because he doesn't have that top of the resume item, and because he had the better regular season record this year, and because he's had more postseason success in years past.
Which is such a rarity, because normally if you get that all-pro nod, you're going to get the MVP.
No, it's the same voters.
Yeah, same voters. But even though you can make such a strong case for Lamar, you could for Josh as well. If you look at some of the numbers he put up, it was historic this year. He finished with 28 passing touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. He's the first player in NFL history to have at least 25 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, and fewer than 10 interceptions in a season. You know, he had not only his best season, but if you compare some of the numbers historically, he's right there at the very top.
So a couple of things.
Yeah, but I hate that we draw the line. It's so arbitrary. Well, 40 total touchdowns and 8 turnovers or fewer.
Right.
Where Lamar Jackson had 9 turnovers.
You could really
so we're still talking about single-digit turnovers and 40-plus touchdowns.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I got
Lamar Jackson had 41 passing touchdowns to 4 picks.
He was nuts this year.
It was insane. It was his best season as a pro.
I know. But even though if I were to just look at the numbers, I could really make the case for Lamar. When we had to give our pick yesterday, I picked Josh Allen because it just felt like the voters wanted to give him something.
They wanted Josh to have something.
They want him to have something.
And in all fairness to Josh, the thing that Evan and I criticized him the most about, he fixed this year.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was going to be able to fix the turnovers, and he did that.
He did.
He was absolutely phenomenal.
6 interceptions, sacked only 14 times.
I mean, he really took care of the football, and it led to his team having more success. Now, they still lost in the conference championship game, but it was a much more closely contested game this time around versus what we saw in 2020. And you could see opportunities within the game where if a break goes the Bills' way, if a call goes the Bills' way, you might have had a different outcome. And so I do think Josh has, in effect, closed the gap a little bit. between where he was at and where Lamar and Patrick Mahomes are at. Now, there's still more work to do, but he made a quantum leap in terms of how his production impacts his team's success, and that's what everybody wanted to see. But when it comes to the Lamar Jackson of it all, y'all, this dude is special. He had a 119 passer rating. There are only two other quarterbacks that have had a higher passer rating in NFL history. And guess what? Those two guys, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. I just
pretty good.
And they got MVPs. It's hard for me to say that the committee got it right, that the voters got it right when it comes to the MVP, knowing that Lamar Jackson put together his best season statistically in his career.
I've said all along, I thought whoever had won the two previous MVPs, the other guy would win the MVP this year. I think if Josh Allen had two MVPs on his resume, Lamar would have been the MVP. I think this was the year to give it to the other guy, and that's not the right way of doing it. I am totally okay with Josh Allen as MVP. I obviously said it before this season. I also, as a Lamar Jackson fan, which I am, part of me is actually happy for Lamar Jackson. I think this is a good thing because I think it would just be held against him. Yeah. Oh, you have 3 MVPs and you can't get to the Super Bowl? We hold too much against Lamar anyway.
It's still going to be held against him.
I know, but
it doesn't matter.
But I think there would have been more ammo.
MVPs. The word on the street is that Lamar Jackson can't win when it matters.
I think I have no interest in giving people more ammo to rag on a guy that's going to be a first ballot. Well, I shouldn't say first ballot Hall of Famer because who the hell knows?
Who the hell knows?
Who knows anymore?
Who knows?
All right. Coming up, the comeback player of the year had a comeback for his organization. That's after Cece tells you this about GNC.
We're brought to you today by GNC. At GNC, nutrition isn't just a department, it's a whole freaking store.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã quay trở lại kênh YouTube của mình. Mình hiện làm người làm video sáng tạo nội dung trên nền tảng YouTube nha các bạn. Mình sẽ sáng tạo những video hướng dẫn cắt dán cho các bạn này. Đây là những sản phẩm của mình đã cắt dán rất nhiều những sản phẩm của mình đây này. Mình sẽ giới thiệu cho các bạn cách mình tạo ra video, những video viral của mình nha. Đấy. Để tạo được những video đẹp hay chất lượng cho các bạn xem thì mình sẽ cần những dụng cụ như sau. Mình sẽ giới thiệu cho các bạn biết nha. Đây là giấy thủ công màu các bạn ạ. Rất nhiều màu sắc này. Đấy. Nó có giấy màu vàng này, giấy màu xanh này, đây là màu xanh da trời nha các bạn này. Còn đây là giấy màu đỏ. Đấy. Còn đây giấy màu cam này các bạn này, màu cam, giấy màu vàng này. Đấy, giấy màu vàng. Và để tạo ra được những sản phẩm tuyệt vời như thế này. Đấy, những sản phẩm mình đang cầm trên tay là sản phẩm đẹp của mình. Đấy.